At the end of June 2014, Renault Sport launched the all-new Renault Clio R3T in the Scottish Rally. The rally allowed Renault to test its new weapon in event conditions, and it was a successful test as after 120 kilometres of timed sections, Mikko Korhonen, the Finnish driver, brought the car to the finish, having posted some excellent times. For a first outing of the Clio R3T in France, Renault Sport chose the Rally Mont-Blanc Morzine, a legendary event in the French Championship. On September the 5th and 6th, the Clio R3T took to the French asphalt for the first time in competition. As well as the official car, 3 other Clio R3Ts also took the start. To face up to this new challenge, the Renault Sport team called on Quentin Gilbert, a young driver he's already experienced and has competed in several WRC events. He took his job of official driver to heart.
The
sensations are good, and this car has been well conceived, that's for sure. There's everything you need here in order to feel at ease in a race car. With the experience we have, we'll try to bring something to the entire team. And all weekend long, we'll be working with the engineers and mechanics. And I think that come the end of it, there'll be a really positive assessment.
Je pense qu'à la fin du week-end, le bilan sera vraiment positif.
Presented in its Earth version at the Scottish Rally, the asphalt version, retailing at €68,900 plus taxes, has several modifications. Yann Parenton, in charge of the development of the car, explains them. We've changed all the liaisons with the ground, whether it's the shock absorbers or the springs or the underseal, etc. All of this is specific to the asphalt version. The car as a whole has been made lighter compared to the one that took part in the Scottish Rally, so we're at the lowest possible weight, that is to say 1,080 kilos. 4 Clio R3Ts are running this weekend. We're here to help everybody progress with this car and understand the car. It's their first event with it. They have to understand the car, how it works and the setup, and we'll help them improve all of that.
Comprendre le setup de la voiture, et donc nous on va essayer de, enfin on va les aider à améliorer l'ensemble de ces setups.
At the wheel of one of the Clio R3Ts here this weekend is Jeremy Serries. He's the best illustration of how Renault Sport enables drivers to move through the categories. The French Junior Rally Champion of 2012 competed in R1, then R2, and now, this weekend for the first time, in R3, a new category which will take some time to adapt to. The car is a bit more imposing and the driving position is further back. Then the engine's more powerful, with a coupled engine. The Twingo is an atmospheric 1600 and you use them in totally different ways. At the start of the year, there were several opportunities out there, including one with Renault Sport, which allocated us the budget for the last 3 rounds of the French Championship. It was down to me to choose someone to prepare, and I didn't hesitate for a second in choosing Giselle, and I think everything will work out well. The verdict will come in the first Rally du Mont-Blanc specials. In testing, we can't be sure, but for now, things are going fine, and I feel good in the car. On the eve of the start of the event, we came across a Renault 5 in Calbusson colours. At its wheel, Jean Ragnotti. There's some history here. In 1980, the emblematic Renault driver won Mont Blanc at the wheel of this car. That year, he was victorious in 3 French Championship events and was crowned champion come the end of the season. And for this first rally outing of the Clio R3T in the French Championship, Jean Ragnotti came to pay a visit to Quentin Gilbert.
Jean.
Hello Jean, you're here to see the new Clio R3T. The old car, the old driver, the young driver and the new car.
Allez, c'est parti, on y va.
So Quentin, are you happy with the new Clio R3T?
Ouais, vraiment content. C'est vraiment
yeah, very happy. It's a good car, well conceived, as often at Renault Sport. We did a few kilometres before the rally and frankly it's very good. I think we're going to really enjoy ourselves this weekend. And the way the engine kicks in, is that good too? Yeah, it's very linear with a lot of coupling. We can use the engine and keep the same speed through quite a few corners when they come back to back. And that's a good thing with this car. The Mont Blanc is a rally with quite quick specials with beautiful roads that are quite wide with lots of hairpins going up or down. In terms of grip overall, it's quite consistent.
Au niveau abrasif, dans l'ensemble, c'est assez régulier.
Yeah, generally there's a strong grip. There are some black sections and they can be complicated, but overall there's a lot of grip.
Tu vois, moi, en
In 1980, I had a really small Renault 5 Alpine Group 2 and we won the rally, so I hope you win this rally in your Clio R3T.
Je souhaite de gagner le rallye avec ta Clio R3T.
Well, thanks, Jono. We'll try. Best wishes. Another driver entered this weekend capable of making the Clio R3T shine is Emmanuel Guigou. Habitués of the French Rally Championship, his team Automaker have entered 2 new Clios, his and that of Fabiano Lofiego. It's a special weekend for the driver and team manager. Driving a new car is always a challenge. I've been lucky enough to drive all the Renault products from the Clio R3 Maxi to the Twingo R2, as well as the Megane N4 and now the Clio R3T. It's got a good feeling. It's quite agile and easy to drive. I'm confident, but the rally will have the final say.
Donc plutôt confiant, mais la course dira le reste.
The first day of the rally is composed of 95 kilometres of time sections over 5 specials. Canton Gilbert is the first to go in the Clio R3T. He's followed by Emmanuel Guigou, Jeremy Series and Fabiano Lofiego. The official Renault Sport driver is immediately up to speed and posts the 12th scratch time on the opening special. But on the second special he makes a mistake and damages the left side of his car, losing 9 minutes. He is able to continue though. He's got one more special to do before the car can be repaired, and he gives it his all, getting the 13th scratch time and the 3rd quickest in the R3 category. The Renault Sport team gathers around the Clio R3T. The goal now is to punch hard, time section after time section. There are still 2 specials to come before the end of the first stage. Canton Gilbert and Renault Jamoul post the 16th and 12th scratch times, enough to have a few regrets even if the performance is there. Still, they continue to attack. As for the other teams using a Clio R3T, things didn't exactly go according to plan. Jeremy Series went into a spin a few kilometres from the end of special stage 2. The Renault Sport driver is injured, suffering with a neck problem and not at 100% physically. Fabiano Lofiego is back in the French Rally Championship. Apart from the Rally Monte Carlo at the start of the season, he hadn't competed since 2008. He's getting back up to speed with things and getting used to the Clio R3T. He finishes the day in 29th place. The top performer on the day was Manu Guigou. So comfortable with the new car, he puts together scratch times in the R3 category, regularly featuring in the top 10. At the end of the day, he's 9th in the general classification, and his nearest pursuer in R3, Cedric Robert, is 32 seconds behind. Saturday, the second day of the Rally Mont-Blanc Morzine, and 105 kilometres of time sections to separate the entrants. Before attacking the 5 specials, Canton Gilbert and the Renault Sport engineers fine-tuned the setup, using the data harvested the previous day.
Adapter des clics par rapport au ressort, ok. Donc tu me dis à la fin de la première si c'est bien comme ça ou pas. Ah ouais, ça va être. Donc là ça devrait.
Il y a 5 virages qui tournent un peu, mais l'angle est.
Today's objective is clear: to make the Clio R3T shine special after special. And even if it takes a while for the Renault Sport team to get going, it does start to come into its own from special stage 8 as the 2 men battle it out with Manu Guigou. Jeremy Series continues his apprenticeship in the R3, but he's out of luck and is forced to abandon after completing special stage 8. Fabiano Lofiego is up to speed now and is getting quicker special after special, even if he's not counting every second, and is making the most of enjoying the rally along with the spectators. Emmanuel Guigou was the standout competitor on day 1. He does exactly the same on day 2, leaving only 2 best times in the R3 category to his rivals. The Clio R3T fits him like a glove. So well, that at the finish line of the final special, he's managed an exceptional result.
Arrivé pour droite 140, c'est bon.
Bien joué.
C'est bien, bravo.
Bien joué.
To mark the first outing of the Renault Clio R3T, the Guigou Moura team wins the R3 category and the 2-wheel drive category and finishes 5th overall behind the WRCs. Quentin Gilbert and Renault Jamoul also crossed the finish line. The assessment is very positive from Jean-Pascal Dos, competition director at Renault Sport Technology. We've done fantastically well, above and beyond what we'd hoped for. We knew we could do something good, but to have 7 scratches out of 10, to be 5th overall and top in the R category, well, that wasn't at all what we expected. We didn't think we were as ready as that. It's the first rally at which we've had several cars, and we've been able to attack a bit. The rallies before this were just starters, really, to be treated delicately. The level of performance is where we expected to be a bit further down the line. The final assessment is very positive. The Renault Clio R3T then, with a successful first outing in the French Rally Championship on the asphalt. More success will undoubtedly follow before the end of the current season and in the years to come. Cast your mind back to just a few weeks ago and a historic moment for Renault Sport with a new lap record at the Nürburgring posted by the Megane RS 275 Trophy R. 7:54.36, nobody had ever gone quicker on the legendary circuit. No time to rest on the laurels though, and it's out of the question to not follow that feat up with more. And so it's off to Spain and the Renault factory in Palencia, where 250 of the limited series Radical Megane will see the light of day. That was decided just after the Nürburgring record. The watchword of the Megane Radical is to be as light as possible, and every effort is being made to find a solution to the weight issue in every domain, with the support of project partners such as Akrapovic for the exhaust, Öhlins for the shock absorbers, and Michelin for the tyres. And so, for such a specific project as this, the Palencia factory has had to adapt.
I
pilot the new projects and their derivations in Palencia for all things concerning engineering. We started making the Renault Sport in 2008, and now we have the new limited edition Radical. There are several differences when it comes to manufacturing a Megane RS as compared to the Megane road car. And to welcome these cars, we've had to modify our assembly lines. For example, for the Öhlins shock absorber, we've modified the machine so that it can deal with Renault Sport and a specific Öhlins one. As there are no back seats, we've added a bar, and that's new for this factory. Then we put the seats in, and we've adapted the means so as to manipulate them well and not damage them. We install the wheels too, which arrive ready assembled from our supplier. Then we conduct tests to ensure the balance is there, the body parts and the rear of the car. In terms of the engine, there's something new. As there's no cooler, there's no compressor. There's a new way of assembling things, and we've had to adapt our process. There's a new line in Akrapovic exhausts. They're lighter, made of titanium, and in terms of noise and performance, they're more characteristic of this vehicle. It takes 4 hours to assemble a Megane RS Radical. We've had to modify things here, but we succeeded in not perturbing the manufacturer of the Megane road cars. It's like producing a jewel, and that's not all. One of the most delicate matters is the paintwork. The limited edition has a new bitonal tint, and that's far from anodyne. There's a specific implantation here inside the factory for the paintwork, as bitonal paint is something new here at Palencia. We've also worked in close collaboration with the engineering department and the Techno Centre. Two people have undergone specific training for the bitonal painting. That's their main role. We had to organise ourselves so that the Radical could leave the classic production line in order to go to the treatment centre, benefiting from a different procedure to the standard one. There are unique operations to be conducted, like the preparation, the coat of black, and the application of the varnish. For the Radical, for the most part, the roof is black and starry, while the body is pearly white even if other tints are available. It takes 4 hours for the work to be completed. The preparation, the painting, the drying, and then we've got the retouches, of course, and you've got the final controls to be conducted too. In total, about 100 kilos in weight has been taken off compared to the road version. When we visited, there was still one stage of the production process left for this car, which is unlike any other.
Fabien Lafargue,
I'm responsible for the Spanish subsidiary of Renault Tech, which encompasses the sites at Palencia, Valladolid and Barcelona. Renault Tech is the subsidiary of Renault, concerned with the bodywork. Once the vehicle has come off the production line, we sort out all the stickers for the vehicles and the adaptations for countries such as Japan and soon China for Renault Sport. Almost all the RS vehicles come through the Renault Tech workshops at Palencia.
Donc la pratiquement totalité des véhicules Renault Sport passe par les ateliers Renault Tech à Palencia.
And so the first Megane Radicals have come off the production line. A 2-litre engine producing 275 horsepower can roar again, be it at the Nürburgring or elsewhere. What's for sure is that this ultra-sporty limited edition model is sure to make people happy. The Challenge Renault Sport started in March with the Rallye Pays du Gers. For the season finale, the drivers headed to the Vosges on September the 19th and 20th. 5 cars were presented, and there was still one title up for grabs in the category R3 and 4. In the Challenge Renault Sport Series, Renault engineers are on hand every competition weekend to help the drivers. Their work starts even before the racing begins.
Just before the
start of the third special of the rally, given what you told me, you're going to get some info together to hand over to the drivers who take part in the rally. Yes, we're there for them. We'll look at everything together, take notes, and offer advice all weekend long. I didn't know it, and I've just found out that the Renault Sport technical team send you out on reconnaissance missions, and you then share the info gleaned with the drivers. The advantage for the competitors in the Challenge Renault Sport is to benefit from, among other things, our technical support. We're here to offer advice on the various aspects, including how to adapt the car to the terrain. That's why it's really useful for us to share the same terrain with them. It allows us to find the right setups, and we share that with them. In my era, as we had more time for reconnaissance, it was open to us, and so we had more info. But here, even just going through 3 times, it's still good to give them additional information. Here I'm going to take notes. We've already done about 4 kilometers, and overall it's very tight and there are a few bumps out there. The other thing about the Challenge Renault Sport is the technical verifications. They happen alongside the rally, and nothing is left to chance. We're at the technical control point of Renault Sport, and we're going to see what happens with Mont-Blanc. There are 2 very important things. The first is to make sure it's a level playing field from a technical point of view. Everything is verified when it comes to the mapping of the engine, and then there's a second aspect, which is the security angle. We check the harnesses and the seats. We check all the stickers too, which have to be homologated. Everything is governed by the lists distributed by the FIA. Then there are the final checks, which are more profound. You might take an engine apart in order to check that all the elements conform to the regulations. And these security checks are more and more advanced, as Jean Ragnotti bears witness to.
Well,
in the old days, there was no control of the helmet or the racing suits. There were just 3 or 4 security checks, no more than that. The seat belts, and then just a check as to the general state of the car. Before the start of this final event of the season, the assessment of how the year has gone in the Challenge Renault Sport is very positive. Well, it has been a good year in the Challenge Renault Sport, with an average of 15 cars entered per round. Then there have been some great fights, whether in the Twingo R1, the Twingo R2, or the Clio R3 Megane N4. In 2015, we're going to move towards a Clio R3T trophy. The race calendar will be decided within a few weeks, and we intend to have a trophy in France and one overseas. Not entered this weekend, but having already won the title the previous Sunday, William Pitot reflects on his season and what he expects from the Rallye du Var. Well, the previous season we set objectives which didn't go as we hoped. So this season we said we'd take it one rally at a time and we'd assess what was possible as things moved along. That's what we did. In the end, it was really at the midpoint of the season we said we've got a chance, we have to go for it. I'd never raced in a professional team, I'd always raced with my parents or friends helping me out. The Rallye du Var is going to be a great experience. We'll try to build to a crescendo through the rally and get a handle on the car. There are some top drivers entered, and so the level will be high, especially in the R3. Well, you've seen how the start of the rally went. Now I'm next the Clio R3T that the 3 winners in the Challenge Renault Sport will get to drive in the Rallye du Var. On now to the racing from here. On the Friday evening, a night special, some 13 kilometres long. But the hardest elements are still to come. To get onto the podium, the drivers will have to contend with the 7 specials on the menu on Saturday. The only R1 competitor here and champion already since the Rallye du Pays de Saint-Rieu, Aurélien Lafont is here to get experience of roads he's never raced on before. At ease throughout the day, he naturally enough dominates the category until he makes a mistake on the penultimate special and is forced to abandon. In R2, there was nothing at stake this weekend as the name of the champion was already known. Franck Gravier, a driver from this region. He does excellently throughout the specials, finishing 16th in the general classification and 2nd in R2. Where there still is suspense is in the R3 N4. With Laurent Lacourny an absentee, the title will be decided between Michael Redelet and Pascal Berard. Berard has a 9-point advantage. Redelet attacks from the off and puts some great times together. For a while, he's 6th in the general classification and 3rd in R3. Berard puts in a controlled and consistent performance, in keeping with the way he's raced all season.
40 trottoirs, attention, 20 mètres, gauche à fond, 20 mètres.
The third Clio R3 here is driven by Damien Stomfli. He finishes 18th overall. Everything changes in special stage 6 as the Redelet Chauffeur team makes a mistake. It's an error with massive consequences as his rally finishes right here. So Berard father and son have a clear road to the title. They finish 11th overall and 4th in the R3 class.
Gauche 130 cordes, 10 mètres, barrière blanche gauche 125 sur carrefour droite 80.
I've been competing in rallies for 30 years, 25 of those at the wheel of a Renault. So for me this was the biggest challenge of the year. I don't think we were the quickest car this season, but our consistency paid off as we finished all 8 of the rallies we entered. The car is reliable, we are too, and that's great. At the VAR, we'll be able to enjoy ourselves. We'll be driving a car which might be our future car, so we'll see later. So the Challenge Renault Sport comes to an end. The 3 winners are Aurélien Lafont in R1, William Pitot in R2, and Pascal Berard in R3 and 4. The rendezvous has been set for a few weeks' time for the Rallye du Var at the wheel of the all-new Clio R3T.